American embassies are prime targets of foreign spy services, foreign espionage services. They would love to get their hands or their paws into our pockets inside of our embassies, plant listening devices, or recruit people who are working in there, local employees. And I'll give you a perfect example of what occurred in the Soviet Union, Moscow, our embassy there in the 1970s through the late 1980s, where I served briefly. I served there in the late 80s and then again around late 90s, 98, 99. What the Russians had done, they pulled off a very clever trick. We were using at the time IBM Selectric typewriters to process classified information and cables. This was before the time when everybody had a computer on their desk. And the IBM Selectric typewriters were shipped to the embassy, and they sat in a customs warehouse for a period of time before we went over to pick them up. While they were sitting in that warehouse, the KGB, that is the Russian intelligence service, broke in, dissected one of those typewriters, and discovered a great way to penetrate our embassy. And what they did was within the typewriter, they found a metal bar that was vacant. It was empty, and they managed to engineer a radio transmitter to fit inside of that vacant space inside the typewriter. So when the typewriter was plugged in and turned on, the radio transmitter had an energy source, it's right there. And as the American employee was typing on his classified, secret, or even top secret document, each keystroke was being broadcast by radio to a nearby listening station. The Russians had, the embassy was circled by high-rise buildings, and they had little spy nests in some of these buildings with a radio receiver that was capable of picking up the signal that was being sent by the typewriter. So essentially, in essence, as the American embassy employee was typing away on a highly classified cable or memo, the Russians were reading it in real time. And this went on apparently for several years. It was finally picked up in the late 1980s. I can't go into the details of how it was discovered other than to say it was a tip. And needless to say, after that happened, we completely changed the way embassy documents were prepared and so forth. In my next presentation, I'm going to tell you how the Russians successfully inserted a listening device in the State Department on the 7th floor, just around the corner from where the Secretary of State has his office. And I participated in the finding of that particular listening device.